Alright, hey guys. Want to make a video about how to get going with FPV and without spending, $1,000. It doesn't have to be real expensive, especially once you have the basic stuff. So I'm just going to go down the list. Instead of doing an individual unboxing of everything, I'm just going to show you everything that I've gotten so far to get me going in FPV. So I started out with the SEMA X5C quadcopter. Works great. You can fly this indoors, outdoors. This is by far the best training quadcopter I've flown. It comes with a nice little transmitter. You can get this whole setup for about under 50 bucks. I mean, it's cheap, and you can record pictures and you can record video onto the SD card in the camera by you take a picture by pushing up, and you activate video by clicking down, and then you have to click down again to save it to your SD card. And the camera in here is actually not too bad. Now on the other version that my son has, that's the SEMA X5C or X5SC. That has the Wi-Fi camera, and he has the black one, and that Wi-Fi just doesn't work. It works, but there's not a whole lot of range, maybe 50 meters, and there's a lot of lag. So it can really be frustrating for people getting started, and it costs more. This one was $45. That one I think was $80 or $90, and you're much better off going with this, which is a 5.8. I think JJRC makes this, but this is a real find. It's $55, and I have gotten a lot of use out of this, so I highly recommend it. It comes with a camera, which I have mounted on my Eachine Falcon 250, which we'll get to in a minute. But I just want to show you guys that this camera that it comes with is real handy. It has almost like a little dipole antenna that you would find like on an old radio, which is a little different than a like what do you call it, a mushroom antenna. And then it has your charging port. It's got an on and off switch and an SD card slot on the side. So it's a 720 camera. It's not going to be as good as a Run Cam or probably a Mobius and whatnot, but it'll definitely get you some decent videos, So I've been pretty happy with it. So after that I went ahead. Okay, so that's $55 and $45. That's about $100 right there for a basic FPV training setup. So after that, I went ahead and pulled the trigger on an Eachine Falcon 250. It's all pre-put together. It's ready to fly. Comes in a nice little carrying case like that, and it comes with a FlySky i6 transmitter, which is very, very functional. I'm pleased as punch with this thing. It has a lot of things that the higher priced transmitters have. I like the sticks. I'm really happy with it. And as far as cameras go, I've got a Firefly 6S on the way in the mail to sort of complete this whole thing. Of course, you have your FPV camera in the quadcopter with a tilt on it, and the transmitter's back here, and I put a better antenna on it. So that takes us to the monitor that comes with this setup. The monitor is a 4x3 screen. It's not that great, to be honest, but It comes with a nice little directional antenna there, and you can use that later down the road. And I'll just give you a quick look into these little goggles I made. Foam board at the dollar store. I've got my dip switches right here cut out so that I can change my channels. You know, I cut out there. I cut out a little hole where you can plug in your charging port, and I just zip tied a hat on there, and you know, it's not a bad way to get started for, you know, not much money at all. And I don't know if you can see in there, but you know, it works. It shows you how many seconds of time you've got when you hit the record button. It shows you your battery on both the receiver and the transmitter. So that's pretty good for $55. I really haven't been able to find anything for a better price. So I would highly recommend this just to get going. So I guess we'll move on to the Falcon. It's just like a ZMR, but it has these side plates here which give it a lot of stability. People complain about getting into the USB port on this. Not a huge deal for how much structural integrity it has. It does have a back plate that you can fly it without that. You can fly it without the side plates if you want. So, you know, it has, you know, it has a CC3D. I would probably just leave it the way it is for, you know, to begin with. I have plugged it into OpenPilot, which has become LibrePilot, so I've got it, you know, tuned up to LibrePilot, and it works just fine. Just use the ZMR settings, or I actually use the QAV250 settings is what I have running on it right now. They both work just fine, and you can go into TXPID at the very end, and you can set your rates and anything you want. There's about 15 or 20 different options that you can set to this knob here, so that you can change your settings with these little knobs while you're flying. Your PIDs, your P, your I, your D, your rates, you know, whatever you want. So that's great. So far we've spent about $100 here, $220 there. Now the goggles I got on RC Groups, I was looking for a pair of Fat Shark Attitude goggles for around $200, and I ended up finding these. And what I like about these Boss Cam, they're older. I think they're the 9220s, 9230s, but they're the older ones. But they have good resolution, 640 by 820 or whatever it is, just like the Dominators, the old Dominators. But what I really like about them is I have kind of a wide interpupillary distance, so this has, you know, enough to go around my big fat face and keep the sun out. Now, what I didn't notice when I tried these on is that when I close one eye, it cuts off a little bit on each side. That's my only complaint. And, you know, I can't remember how many millimeters I have, but I think the Dominator HDs go up to about 73 millimeters, and I'm at about 69. So, you know, that's not a problem for most people. So $200 here, $220 there. You know, do the math. That's $420 plus about, you know, $100 for the FPV setup. So we're looking at about $500, $520, and that's for, you know, two setups, one for you, one for your son, or what have you. You know, other things that you want to get is a glue gun. What else do I have? You want to get some extra straps. I've got some Velcro around here somewhere. You want to get Velcro for your batteries. There it is. You know, you want to get, you know, some Velcro, some Velcro straps, and some Velcro to put on the back of your batteries. You want to get some extra batteries. This is a 4S. This is a 4S pulse battery. You know, makes it a lot zippier. Start out with a 3S, and of course you got the 1500 that comes with it. So, you want to get at least a couple batteries, and that'll really get you, in a pretty happy situation. And the only other thing is I spent about $30 on a decent charger. The one that came with it fried out after about 2 weeks. I think it was balanced, but I don't think it was very good. So anyway, that wraps up the actual hardware for about $550, and you can do that in increments, So that covers that. I have one subscriber, and it happens to be a girl, a woman, and well, God bless her. That's much appreciated. But I'm trying to get my setup just a little bit improved here and get things working. I've got a fairly slow computer, so I'm trying to make these videos a little bit more professional. Next thing I want to show you is flight simulators. Very, very important to learn how to fly FPV. You're going to want one of these. $10 and worth every penny. It's just an adapter that fits onto the back of your transmitter. It fits into the trainer port there, and you're definitely going to want one of these. And let me see here. Where did that little bugger go? Alright. So what you do is, you got a USB, and then you've got your port here. So you plug that in. And another little tip is that you want to make sure to set this to number 2. Number 2 on this little switch on the side. Took me a while to figure that out, so I always like to try and help anybody out if I can. It's those little things that can hold you up for indefinitely sometimes, right? So we're going to go into the next thing that I like to use is Screencast-O-Matic. And so we're going to do that now. And there we are. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug the dongle in, and we're going to go into FPV Freerider. And we're going to open that up, and we're going to show you how that works. And that costs $5, and it's worth every penny. You will save that amount in props easily. So we're going to load this up, and I'm just going to try and bring up anything else that I thought of. I guess while we're at it, sorry this is a long video. A lot of people make, individual videos about, every little item. I thought I'd just do it all in one. Like I say, if you could subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate it. I just tell things like it is. No hype. No hype. It's not like a carnival type atmosphere. I'm just going to try and relay as much information that I've spent hours and hours trying to find out. So that covers sort of the hardware end of it. Now we're going to go into the software end of it. I use Screencast-O-Matic to screencast, and then I've got my little webcam down here. And definitely recommend going up to the Pro version. It's about $12 a year, and you don't have the watermark down there, and it gives you a lot more features. So once you get into this, you want to configure your controller, and I won't go into that too much, but you want to make sure that your model is selected to not the model that you're flying with, but just an open channel. And I'll just go through this really quick. I think should be fine, so I'll do it now. You just want to calibrate that so that the software knows what you're doing. And we're done. So what you've got here is, I've got mine set on ugly, just because I have a slower computer. If you have a fast gaming type computer, put it on best by all means. But I'm actually going to put it on worst, whoops, because, you know, with Screencast-O-Matic and I've got YouTube videos going, that would probably be the best. So without any further ado, we're just going to go in here for a minute, and I'll let you guys get back to your regular scheduled programming. But I spent about 2 days on this, and my FPV skills skyrocketed, like night and day. I didn't have the dongle right away, so I had to use an Xbox controller, and it barely worked. I mean, it was so touchy that once I got onto this thing, it was like butter. It was awesome. So you've got an acro mode, and you've got low rates, high rates. I would start out low rates, and I might start out in self-leveling mode, but don't spend too much time in self-leveling mode, because you want to start getting used to acro mode. It really isn't that hard, and it's just going to give you a whole lot more options when you're in the long run. So here we go. And if you miss a gate, don't worry about it. Just keep going. The idea is just to keep going and keep learning. And turn that volume down a little bit. But I've got my camera angled really forward here so that you can get a little more speed going. But start out with your camera not angled very much, and I'll show you that in a minute. But you know, the more your camera is tilted up, the faster you'll be going when, you know, the faster you're going to go, because it's going to tilt your quadcopter forward more. So anyway. And don't just get caught up on going through the gates. Go up and fly around and get used to it. I know when I got started, I had a tendency to just keep going to the right there, and I learned how to fly to the right, but I never went to the left. So be sure to flip things around and go around backwards, and you know, it's a figure eight, but you want to get those left-hand turns going too. So what I'll do now is I'll show you the one more thing here. I'm going to show you the custom settings, if I can. And in the custom settings, you can change quite a bit of stuff. You can't control your PIDs, but just about everything else you can control. And I've got my throttle up too high here. Just kind of put these things in the middle, sort of, to start out with. And your field of view, you want that all the way open. But see, this is my camera angle here, and I've got it up quite a ways. And I kind of like it that way, but start out with it, you know, somewhere in there. The physics, that copter was feeling kind of heavy, and this is why. The lighter it is, of course, the slower it'll take to go down. The one more thing I want to recommend is that you set a throttle hold. It's not so important here on this one, but you want to set a throttle hold, and that's in another video of mine, because then when you go down all the way on the throttle, you'll still have your motor spinning a little bit for that gyro effect, and to flip you over, and so that you know you're not just dead sticking it and just fluttering around. So, but just start out, you know, practicing hovering, and don't get discouraged. At first I thought I'm not going to be able to do this. I thought there's no way I can do this. And next thing you know, I was flying, you know, just fine. So, you know, just keep going. It'll take you a couple days to sort of break through. And next thing you know, you'll be doing just fine. So, I guess that just about does it. Sorry if this video was a little bit long, but I just wanted to get everything done in one video. And please subscribe. And happy flying.